ain't gonna take it. Oh, we're not gonna take it anymore. We've got the right to choose.
No, we're not going to take it. And that's why I come on the radio 3 times a week and I rant and rave and I get pissed off because I try to light a fire up under your rear end so you get mad and you do something about it. You know, I do as much as I possibly can, but I'm not going to win this myself. You know, all the separate We Are Change chapters aren't going to win it themselves. Alex Jones isn't going to win it himself. RTR is not going to win it themselves. But all of us working together, you know, the Intel Hub, the Bob Tuscan Radio Show, RTR, Federal Jack, We Are Change, everybody working together as one cohesive, strong unit, we're having an effect. Coming out of Bilderberg, it was leaked that they're really pissed about the global awakening that's happening. People are starting to realize that there's more going on. There's things behind the scenes, and they don't like it. If anybody listens to Lindsey Williams, he's come out the past couple of days and said the same thing, that his intel sources have said that the Bilderberg group and these elites are pissed at us because they're not pissed. I mean, they're pissed at us, but they're pissed in general because people are waking up, and that's good. And if any of them or any of their little lackey cronies ever get to hear this broadcast, screw you, Rockefeller, screw you, Rothschild, screw the rest of you. I won't even sit here and name. You know, I have a couple of things I'd like to talk about, so I don't want to waste the rest of my day naming them all off. But let's just say screw the whole New World Order and everybody that goes along with it and anybody that's attached to it. You know, whether it be a nation state, you know, the government, if it's the entire government, the entire nation, the people of that nation, or if it's just the government of that nation, or even individuals involved. Whoever's involved with this secret agenda, you can all kiss my rear end and screw. We're going to beat you, and then we're going to start punishing you. And by punishing, I mean public flogging and hanging. We're going to bring back the good old days. So look forward to it. All right. Today, I want to get into a few things, but the first thing, if I have enough time, this might take up most of the rest of the time, but I want to get into this because it's rather important. I want to just give some examples of facts. And these are not opinions. These are not made up. These are facts that refute the official conspiracy theory of 9/11. And so people understand a conspiracy theory, you know, is a theory that 2 or more people got together and conspired to do something bad. You know, even the government's own theory is a conspiracy theory. And in fact, the man who wrote a thesis for Obama, or a paper for Obama, or I shouldn't say for Obama, he wrote this about the 9/11 Truth Movement. Now he works for Obama. His name's Cass Sunstein. He talks about how the 9/11 Truth Movement is very bad, needs to be taken down and destroyed. And I'm currently reading a book written by David Ray Griffin, great author, and it's called Cognitive Infiltration, an Obama appointee's plan to undermine the 9/11 conspiracy theory. Now, in the book, Sunstein, David Ray Griffin shows how Cass Sunstein, you know, how he even admits in his paper that the government's own version is a conspiracy theory by definition. So, now that we're all on the same page that even the government's theory is a conspiracy theory, we can maybe get rid of the negative connotation associated with that term. I know the establishment media and shills and all these quote-unquote debunkers out there love to say conspiracy theorists, but let's be honest about it. It's a theory that somebody got together, 2 or more people got together and conspired to do something bad, which is what the government says. And again, you have an Obama administration appointee admitting in a paper that, yes, the government's own theory is a conspiracy theory. Otherwise, the only other theory would be coincidence theory, and it wouldn't be a coincidence that a bunch of guys came together to hijack a plane. That's a conspiracy. So, now that we're past that, I want to give you guys some information and some facts that refute the official, and when I say official, I mean the government's conspiracy theory, and show they actually back up the alternative conspiracy theory that it was allowed to happen and perpetrated by a rogue element. And it was assisted by multiple intel organizations from around the world, which obviously would be a global endeavor, and hence globalism, the New World Order. I mean, it's not that hard to put it together. I understand for the skeptics. I know a lot of them, like the fat, jolly little elf that runs that skeptical humanities thing, I think it is. He's tried to take on Bob a few times. He takes on everybody. He writes about me. Apparently, I'm Bob's chum. That's what he calls me. I'm Popeye from Federal Jack, Bob's chum. And apparently, the fat, jolly little elf likes to rag on people that, talk truth. And he conspiracy theorist. He's whack nut conspiracy theorist. Yet he doesn't even look up the definition of the term. So hopefully, Fatty, you're listening and you'll learn some stuff tonight. Get your pen and notepad and sit back and take some notes. Okay, here's some facts that refute the official story. Now, we're going to break in a few minutes, so I'll just give you a couple small ones, and then we'll get into the deeper, longer ones when we come back. Ted Olson's claim that he was called twice by his wife, Barbara Olson, from American Flight 77, is not at all supported by the FBI report on phone calls from this plane. So the FBI's official report that's in the 9/11 Commission report does not jive with Ted Olson coming on and saying that Barbara called him from the flight. Even though that this has been pushed out, the mainstream media will tell you, well, remember Ted Olson? Every year on 9/11, they always bring up Ted Olson and Barbara Olson and everything that happened. They're official, because remember, they have to reiterate the official lie, okay? They have to keep pushing that home. And if you look, the official reports don't match up. The FBI report does not match up with what Olson said. They went and checked things out, and it would have been impossible because cell phone calls couldn't have been made from the altitude back then. Wasn't available. That technology has only come out within the past couple of years, but I'd say past like 4 or 5 years. And there were no airphones on those planes. They've already, there was a Boeing, and they came out, the aircraft manufacturer came out and said there is no, we don't have airphones on that plane. I think it was a 757. They didn't have airphones on those planes. Maybe they do now, but back then they didn't. And most people could just use their cell phones on planes now, whereas back 10 years ago, we didn't have that capability. You didn't have that ability at all. And it's been tested. People went up in airplanes. Scientists have done this, and they've gone up in airplanes and taken different heights, different altitudes, and they've gone up and tried to make cell phone calls. And they didn't even have to go up as high as they said. They went up in a small plane, and they went up as high as like 7,000 and 8,000 feet, and they couldn't make the calls that they said were being made at 20 and 30 and 40,000 feet. And then United came out a couple of years after 9/11 with this big hoo-ha about how the phone calls, or not about the phone calls on 9/11 per se, but how you can make phone calls from their planes now. And it was all this new technology. Now you can make calls at 30,000 and 40,000 feet. But on 9/11, I thought you could do that years before. So why is it a new technology? You see how they get caught lying? We're going to break, guys. We'll be right back. This is Down the Rabbit Hole. You're listening to me on the Orion Talk Radio Network, Micro 1650 AM.
What you did that day, kill your own citizens to advance your ways. All my real patriots stand up and say 9/11 was an inside job. They lie, they scam, they cheat and steal. They plot, they fund, they act, it's real. They watch, they hunt, they punish and kill.